bathroom minute. So you can see what my strategy is here. Again, I'm using my multi-crafter. These things sometimes go on sale for like 30 bucks, and this is the most useful tool. So you can see under here, like I started getting some of this stuff, right? But this stuff is rotten, and some of the stuff I've been getting is like really dry. So if it just peels up with a crowbar, it's wet. If you have to fight to get it up, it's dry. This I had to actually cut out with this saw. So I probably could have treated it and just left it, but I'm not going to. Now these two supports at the back, okay? The tub is held up by this thing, but really bolted to the wall. You'll notice that I'm missing a few trim clips, but I left the shower enclosure intact. The reason for this is because if you try to remove one of these, there is so much glue on them, you will almost definitely break it. So suddenly, if you do that, not only are you spending another 6 hours rebuilding your bathroom, because you have to get all that stuff off the back, you are also increasing your project budget by a minimum of $300. So you really have to weigh out the pros and cons there. What I'm going to do now is knock out these two supports because it's already held up, okay? So those two are just like cheap insurance for this little bottom thing. I feel like that's becoming my catchphrase. So I'm just going to take these two legs out so that I have better access underneath there. We'll haul the rest of that out, and then we'll take up the rest of the biggest pain in the ass I've run into so far. This is your toilet flange in your bathroom. So to remove your toilet flange, some people use a breaker bar. I don't have a breaker bar that's small enough to fit in here. So what I'm doing is I'm using a pry bar, and I'm hitting the end with a mallet, and then I'm spinning it counterclockwise, okay? It moved a tiny fraction of a millimeter at first, and now it's moving more and more. So as it spins, the glue is loosening off. There's basically contact cement on the inside. So what we have to do is slowly and gradually break that bond. Otherwise, as much of a pain in the butt as this is, it will be much, much worse if we don't get it out the right way. So we're going to pull this out, then that will allow us to take the rest of the floor up in this room. And I'll show you what it's like when it's done. A bit of frustration. Bang this loose enough. I can now spin it out, I think, by hand. I can now spin this out by hand. Ba-ba! Done. You can see all this crap on the inside. We're going to have to redo that, but we do not have to buy a new toilet flange. And this is deep enough, this thread here. You could see that this was actually protruding into the tank. So we've got lots of space. We do not need a deeper toilet flange when we put in our new floor. So fantastic. Progress here. So this is the bathroom floor. Again, with everything taken out, it's still pretty solid. I initially planned on leaving that channel exposed so that I could access water and electrical if we needed it, but like, let's be honest, it's not going to be structurally sound if we do that. So cut a square piece to exactly match this cutout here. If you have a neighbor who's an amazing craftsman, now might be the time to bribe them with some beer. But this cut is horrible. My wonderful neighbor Stuart's been working on it for probably 45 minutes or so. Bless him. So we're going to see how this fits in here after this complicated cut is done. We're going to make, we're doing it in Luan first to bring it up that 1/4 inch. We're going to do it in 1/2 inch so that everything's nice and level around it. We'll just use the previous piece of Luan as a template after we adjust it, and then we're onto this area right here. Okay, we're on day, I don't even know anymore. So this is the square section completely cleaned up at the back. This is a little bit awkward to install a support, but the nice thing is people are not walking here, right? So the weight will be evenly distributed because this is a bed. So this part here needs to be really strong because there's a little pillar that's going to rest pretty much on top of that angle iron. So to make things a little bit stronger, what I'm going to do is put a 2x4 right here, and I'm also going to put a 2x4 here across from this piece of angle iron to the other piece of angle iron as sort of like a subframe. So I'm going to wrap that 2x4 in Luan, staple it together, and then I'm going to put it in with those metal screws. And that will provide us a little bit of an extra platform. Then we're going to run 1-foot centers, same as we did before, ending in a frame that's going to go across that section. So it'll be a cross piece at the top there, and then this piece that comes across and is going to bolt down through the new 2x4 supports that we put in, and it's also going to bolt down through this 2x4 support here. So off to put this whole thing together, and then we'll clean it up and install it. What the brace system looks like, I decided to build it straight across, again, just for ease of viewing and access. So what I did is I taped, I did sideways through the angle iron, pre-drilled, and then used the self-drilling screws. And then it is sideways from the angle iron on the other side next to the gray tank. So these two are being held up by screws that go like this. And these guys are drilled straight down through the angle iron on both sides, which gives us a nice solid cross member to drill to. So we have some torsional rigidity when we put in our cross frame pieces.